أعوذ بالله من الشياطين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We say Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. My name is Mr. Sharia. Mr. Sharia. My contact information is researchpublishingmedia@gmail.com. That's researchpublishingmedia@gmail.com. This is in association with Dr. Tutor. The math lectures are in association with Dr. Tutor. Dr. Tutor is my educational platform where we tutor all subjects, specifically mathematics. We try to tutor from elementary to undergraduate. And so if you're concerned about your academic performance, or you have a child, or you have groups of children that you're concerned about their educational pursuits, just email me, contact me. We also do a leadership conference where, again, we're young black men and young black women in a 2024 American society, and we think we are good, and we are not good. We are actually very, very bad. But how we feel, so we think, it comes from the prophecies in the Bible describing specifically who the black man and black woman is in American society. But the Bible also gives you a contrast of those same people, the nation of Judah, in wickedness. So it's a contradiction, and to correct just black on the planet, to correct that, it's leadership, correct leadership, black men specifically, and black women giving guidance. And that guidance initially comes from the black man and black woman in America. Our focus, whenever you approach Mr. Sharia, yes, is seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, correct? But we don't necessarily hear that because the devil has created an illusion, severity, where we have no idea about what's going on. But we want to be successful, correct? We want to progress. And again, the only way you can do that is with God. But if we miss all of that and you approach Mr. Sharia, well, Mr. Sharia is talking about math analysis, mathematics, math analysis. Math so difficult, it makes life easy. And what we want to do, brothers and sisters, is we want to master math analysis, to be a master of math analysis. Okay, so it's so many things we want to talk about, and so as I'm continuing to progress the math lectures, we want to first start off with like fundamental principles, things that we should always remember. Now listen, we're mathematicians, like we can be whatever we want to be, but first we're believers in God, right? We believe in God, that's first. And then from that belief, we're mathematicians, how we think, right? The most honorable Elijah Muhammad says that we are scientists, right? We are mathematicians. Okay, so I say that because you need fundamental principles that keep you grounded when you want to solve a specific situation. Now, when you have a problem, when I talk about the Research Library Corporation, I say Research Library Corporation. We were incorporated in 2017. So, like when you advertise, when I want to advertise my corporation, right, and designing a logo, like when you see the Research Library Corporation logo, that's what this is representing right here. So we was coming out with some solutions to problems. You know, big corporations, they have tons of problems. And those tons of problems, I'm talking about specifically Caucasian corporations, those tons of problems create billions of dollars in losses. Listen, brother and sister, they trying to put money in their pocket. When we come from nothing, beyond nothing, and all we see is that we're going back to nothing, we're not trying to go back to that. Trying to put billions of dollars in their pocket. So when they have a corporation problem, it could be production. If you speak about CrowdStrike, I believe is a cybersecurity corporation. They had something where some type of program they had a contract with Microsoft, where they were doing business with Microsoft. Very good business, a lot of finance. But listen now, something they came out with that Microsoft was using, it failed. And that stock went from like $400, $500 to like $200. That's a very serious problem. If you could just look at the loss. Now listen now, the people that control CrowdStrike, they got shares in that company. Where each one of they got millions of, we talking about 2 and 3 shares. They created the company. They put the shares on the stock market, but they kept shares because they control the company. You don't let your total business go out of control. You control a lot of your business. So they had millions of shares. Their share price for them millions was 500. It dropped to like 240. They lost billions of dollars off of one problem that they was dependent on someone to make sure it was correct. But that one person that they hired failed. And they made them lose billions. So they're not trying to go through that type of pain. That's financial pain. You can only imagine. So the Research Library Corporation, we were saying solutions to problems. We provide solutions to your business. Well, it could be any type of problem, but just speaking corporationally, we provide solutions to your business problems that are creating severe financial loss. You can look at the situation if you go to my internet site, www.fatihaduwasharia.com. It says, it's an advertising. Are you the president of a country? I started like that because the president is the one that can most dictate power. Now he doesn't have, or she doesn't have absolute power, but initially, like commercially, it's the president that's going to get things going. So if you are the president of a country, are you having problems with drought? I'm a farmer. That's just heaven. Or if you talk about, again, we talk about something called Cartesian space. It's just space. But we found a way, or they originated a way to put it on like a papyrus or on a piece of paper. So you can divide it, you can define it with certain dimensions. So again, you have one dimension, which is the x-axis. You have 2 dimensions, which is the x-axis and the y-axis. The x-axis and the y-axis. That's planar, It could be plain like a flat piece of paper, right? If you're talking about flat piece of paper, this is the X direction, this is the Z direction, planar, and this is the Y direction. So then you talk about 3 dimensions. This is 2 dimensions, this is 1 dimension, and then you have 3 dimensions. 3 dimensions is going to be something like this. So it's just different stages. Really, you can start a child, we still talking about young children learning mathematics. You can start a child off with 3 dimensions and then just, reference 1 dimension, 2 dimensions. And then also understand, brother, it's in dimensions. In dimensions. Like you can have as many, because we're talking about a sphere. Understand, right? You have a circle. A circle is planar. That's planar. So you're just talking about X, Y. That's planar. It's just 2 dimensions. Planar, a circle. And then you have a sphere. And in that sphere, you have infinitely many planes. Where you just got what we call axes, the x-axis, the z-axis. You just got axes going in many directions. So let's understand this variable. So you got one variable here. This is 1 dimension, right? So we're going to call a dimension. Dimension is just how to describe a certain direction in space, right? If we're just going in 1 direction in space, that's just 1 dimension. We're going to call dimension, we're going to give it the variable h. So if we're saying 1 dimension, we say h, and then we put a 1 in the power position. So that's just this right here, a number line. And we can write that as a function. We can say f of x. So this function describes system activity for 1 dimension, but we have to be also correct, because I said that a little bit incorrect, because f of x, it equals y. So now you have 2 variables. You have the x value and you have a y value. So this x and y value gives you 2 dimensions. You have an x value, you have a y value. Always understand, we're just talking about variables. And these variables can be any number that you want it. It can be any number that you want it to be. That's where the confusion comes in again from slavery, chattel slavery. Chattel slavery, because of the chattel part of the slavery for 400 plus years, we think 1 dimension. Regardless of how intelligent we say we are, unless we actually train or educate ourselves to get up out of that, we just think 1 dimension. So it's always somebody behind our back. And so when you speak about like with the military and technology, and always understand that we don't make no door locks, and the things that wicked people, like if you speak about Israel and who brothers and sisters, I mean the things that Israel has done to commit murder of people, that's just real crazy, like, right? So, but to think 1 dimensional, so I'm speaking on the board, but I got my back turned to the door, right? Not even aware of the wickedness of this society. We got desks and hiding spots, right? And then it's always somebody trying to steal a hearing. So from slavery, we just have been conditioned to think 1 dimension. But people are thinking, I'm not going to say multi-dimensional as far as like tens of dimensions, but people are thinking 3rd dimension, 4th dimension. I'm talking about the civilizations on the planet that have not had chattel slavery. But black man, black woman in America, 400 years of slavery. And if we look at Haiti and the revolution that Haiti created to become the first black republic in the Western Hemisphere, they broke up out of that one-dimensional thinking, and they're still not fully functional, right? But they're going into this two-dimensional, three-dimensional. But God will take you up out of all of that, and it'll just be God. But let's understand. So you have f of x. First of all, the function describes system activity. It's just a statement. So we can say f of x equals x plus 2. This x plus 2 statement describes something, right? You can choose any variable, you can choose any number to represent x. It's just whatever number you want. Like if you want this function to equal 4, then you would choose x to equal 2. Right? X can be any number, but to keep it constructive, because the number system goes, remember now, the number system goes from negative infinity to positive infinity. So that's a lot of numbers. It's a lot of brain thought. So then, to keep it simple, we bound the x, we put boundaries around it. And we say, well, we're going to put x in the natural number set. You got to know what the natural number set is already. If you come to class and you ain't had no knowledge of what n is, you're not dumb. You don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? So then how we make bricks out of straw is that we beat ourselves in the head thinking that we're supposed to know what n is. Now, yeah, we know what natural numbers are. That even makes sense. But we ain't going to tell you natural numbers. We're going to say x and n, right? So you just got to learn the language. But when we say x is in the number set n, natural number set n, we know that x is going to be at least 1, 2, 3, to infinity. Okay. I say that because x plus 2 equals something. X plus 2 equals something. That's a statement. So if we want x to be 1, for this function x plus 2, we say f1 equals 1 plus 2. That equals 3. Right? So now you got two numbers. You got x equals 1, and then you got f of x, or f of 1. Either way, you can write it either way, but it's f of 1 equals 3. And this f of 1, 1 plus 2 equals 3, that's the y value. Right? F of x equals y. F of x equals y. So now you have two variables. And these variables are coordinates. Not only are they coordinates, they're spatial coordinates. Space. You're trying to see where that particle is. So you can put your hands around it and hook something up to it to create that heat. Right? Need that heat. So you have an x value. We said x is 1. The number, this is called the Cartesian coordinate system. Cartesian. We used this statement, x plus 2, and we came out with a y value of 3. So we have a point. If you go here, up 3, you have a point right here. And this is called a point in space. So somewhere in space, you have this point here. And the numbers, you say x, y, x is 1, y is 3. And we talked about ordered pairs. And this is where the relationship, variables have a relationship, right? So what's this relationship? Everything comes from from black people, right? The coordinate, the Cartesian space. We have defined x and y, x to be 1, y to be 3. What's that relationship? Where 1 is less than 3, 1 is greater than 3, 1 is equal to 3. That's all it is. And then you have to use math analysis to prove what it is, right? We got to prove that, right? So I want to get into it again, right? We're going to stay focused. I'm going to try to remember that. Because look now, look what I'm trying to tell you. When you go back to Kemet, you start talking about Kemet. That's a good point, right? Hold on one second. Let me read this scripture to you. I was just thinking about this as I was coming up here, right? We're going to go to the, okay, you know. We're going to go, what we're going to go to? We're going to go to, after having knowledge, they return now with nothing. Quran verse, Quran verse. Let's see if we have something. Okay, yeah, so this is in the Holy Quran. And I believe it said, this verse I'm looking for is in chapter 16, verse 17. And I love, okay, no, that's not correct. Hold on one second. 16:70. I love this, chapter right here, because I like bees, and when you start farming, bees are like a cow, right? I mean, not that I really know, like, and just looking at cows, right? But bees are real friendly. But the reason why I like bees, because they can also defend themselves, especially wasps. Wasps are real friendly. Real friendly, right? They real friendly, but they always working and they always building. But it's like that workhorse where they just always working. Not like an ant. An ant is always working, but an ant will take time to mess with you and play with you, right? And get distracted. No, that bee and that wasp. Okay, but let's read what verse 70 says. This is in the Holy Quran. This is in the chapter called the bee or al-nahl. Let me pronounce it correctly in Arabic. Chapter 16. And the brothers and the sisters have named this chapter Suratun Nahl. Suratun Nahl. Suratun Nahl. We're going to read verse 70. Bismillah, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. And Allah creates you, Kala, Walahu, Kalakatu, Kalaka creates, Kum means you, Wala and Walahu, and Allah, Kalakakum, and Allah creates you, Thuma means then. Walahu kalakakum thuma yatawafakum. Then he causes you to die. And of you is he who is brought back to the worst part of life, so that he knows nothing after having knowledge. Huh? You ever get like that? You talk about the greatness. Look, we put the brother Patah. They talking about this brother God. Right? Who's saying he God? What if the commissions That ain't what the hieroglyphs mean. That ain't got nothing to do with what the hieroglyphs mean. We put the brother Ptah up here. Let's put the brother Ptah up here. Ptah was a black man. They say he had mastery of what they call at that time the elements, the 4 elements. And whenever you see this black man, he gonna have like a smooth crown, like a helmet, like something that just fit his head. He gonna be dark. He gonna have that look on him with a little belly, like he eating good, but he's. So they say Ptah is the creation God. They call this brother God. This is me and you, going back thousands of years. Right? So now look, regardless of how educated you say you are in American society, look at how much knowledge we used to have. Right? You can even think how dumb we is compared to what we used to have. But, right, we know how to read and write. Coming from slavery. Listen what I'm trying to tell you. They done stamped us. Stamped. Chattel slavery. In so many ways, they not going to give us reparations because chattel slavery was a punishment. But you talk about angels administering justice. The Caucasian is not an angel of justice. That's the devil. But we got stamped with chattel slavery for disobedience to God. It has nothing to do with whatever you're thinking about. When God says you're supposed to do something and he gives you chance after chance after chance, well, you just don't really believe in God. Chattel slavery, stamp. Correct? I had a good point I was going to build on, but then the Spirit come. And so, but just so we understand, see, when we say reparations, the Caucasian supposed to pay us for reparations. Okay, when you talk about chattel slavery, no, they saying, no, they're not going to pay reparations for chattel slavery because we were slaves being, the only reason why we was made, listen, they came with the Bible. They didn't come, they didn't come as far as like in their ambiance of wickedness. They came with the Bible. Now we know that's a lie as far as their belief in the Bible. But they came with the Bible. So already that lets you know that we was already doing something. Why, if we follow the Bible, why we got to listen to some strangers tell us about the Bible? No, it's God. God say chattel slavery. So in their mind, how they think, why are we going to pay these black people for chattel slavery when God put them in chattel slavery? Yeah, that make a lot of sense. That's the struggle. But where our reparations comes in, what God say, first of all, they're not no angel, they're not righteous. They're in the process of being removed. They just pulled the black man and black woman from the Western Hemisphere, the western coast of Africa. They just got us and pulled us down into their hell. Now you have decisions that you have to make, whether you want to continue on with them or whether you want to save yourself. But our reparation comes in is because God said, well, damn, it's not just chattel slavery, working a plantation to get that nation going where you see what you are today, America. The trillions of dollars that the black man and black woman, specifically us, what we have put on this planet. I don't even make no sense. You're going to build the wealth of the planet and these people control the wealth and we can't get $60 trillion and they print in finance and they have it. God say you can't get these people. If you supposed to be righteous, no, because reality, they ain't got it. They ain't even in black skin, brothers and sisters. You can't give these people $60 trillion? They put in a slavery position, chattel slavery. They put finances phenomenal on the planet. You can't get these people sick, specifically us now, black America. But where reparation comes in is that the lynching, the raping, the Willie lynching syndrome, the shooting of these young black men and black women up till the very day, the dehumanizing of the mindset. They didn't even introduce God to us correctly. That's where the reparation comes in, the longevity of a situation. So look at what God say, right? God say in the book of Proverbs, God say the hoarder or the wicked hoards wealth. That's the Jews, that's the Caucasian people that's financially successful, that's all these countries, the banks that are controlling majority of that slavery finance. Brothers and sisters, what I'm saying is this. Say you run up on a Caucasian and you say, well, damn, if you try to reason with them, right? God say don't do that, don't question them. But if you try to reason with them, right, somehow you in that environment, and you say, well, damn, listen, like realistically, how are you going to take a black woman, it's your child, you raped her, got her pregnant, then to show how gangster you is to castrate the black men, you take the woman that you got pregnant, you raped her, got her pregnant, now she full-flown with the child, everybody sees she about to, and you cut your own child out, let it fall to the ground, and stomp the child. Like, and so, just that scenario, the trillions of dollars, if you look at these Caucasian countries, and just the finances that is going on with these countries, you can't give black people specifically in America $60 trillion and some land. You can't begin to go where you took these people, what they call Africa, and give them countries trillions of dollars. No, you can't do that because God removing you, getting rid of you, making you pay for that. They did the same thing to Babylon. So that's where our reparations comes in. And I had a couple thoughts that I wanted to speak on, but we wanted to stay focused. So it's reparations, and it's a process, right? It's a process. So let's understand one more time. You know, I get to preaching, and you know, I'm a minister, and so the only thing really good is God. So we got Tutor. Okay, so let's listen again. Now this is chapter 16 in the Holy Quran, verse 70. And Allah creates you, kalakakum, walahu kalakakum. And Allah creates you. So right, you trying to say, well, where does that pick up in history? It don't matter. Whenever Allah created you from your mother, you come out the womb of your mother. Or whenever Allah created your ethnicity, you come out the womb of your mothers. Or when Allah created the black nation on the planet, we came out of the wombs of our mother. So whatever starting point you want to choose where you had that knowledge. And Allah creates you, then He causes you to die. And of you is He who was brought back to the worst part of life. That's kind of heavy, right? Because we do talk about the resurrection, and we're starting to see now, when you go to India, or just that area of black people, when you talk about antiquity, that's the Sumerian and the Indian, and they were all one people with the Commission, and that was in Arabia. they talk about, well, when you specifically go to India, how they commercialize it, they say reincarnation, but I'm seeing now that reincarnation and resurrection, that means that's the same thing. But they saying reincarnating and coming back on this planet. Right? Now, whether you're going to have conscience or that life, right, that breath, you're going to have that breath, but at least you're going to have that knowledge, right? So we haven't looked at that yet, and all praise to the Lord. And of you is he who is brought back to the worst part of life, so that he knows nothing after having knowledge. We know nothing after having the knowledge of Ptah. Why did we fall? Why were we removed from our prominence? We're now chattel slavery, right? Got to understand that. Not only do we have to understand that, that's in the Quran. That's prophecy. We hadn't even been chattel slavery yet. Surely, Allah is knowing powerful. Okay. Okay. So after having knowledge, Allah created us, right? And then Allah caused us to die. And then after having knowledge, then he causes you to die. Okay, no, then it says, of you is he, and then it says, not everybody now, of you is he. That means the disbeliever, the one that does not believe, the munafiqun, the transgressor, the devil, the hypocrite. Not all of us that are caused to die, but of you is he specifically, who was brought back to the worst part of life, so that after he knows nothing, so that he knows nothing after having now. Okay, so look at it right this, right? So you got Ptah here, then you got the nations, the black nation on the planet at that time. So Allah caused us all to die. We all die, or we all go into the grave, right? But not everybody was brought back with chattel slavery. That's what I'm trying to tell you now. Everybody at that time, black, went into the grave. But it's a reproduction, it's a reincarnation, or it's a resurrection, a continual resurrection of the black man and black woman. You can say it in that language. So we went into the ground, but then look, right? Oh, that's powerful. I don't know how true that is, but okay, so the brother and the sister said that during the time of Kemet, and then you got the Red Sea, and then you got the Kaaba right here. During the time of Kemet, the brothers say that they knew how to calculate when you would resurrect from the grave, right? So look, right? Allah created us, right? Allah created Kalaka. You got the calf. Is that a calf? No, it's not a calf. You got the car. You got the lamb, and you got the Q, or the car. You got the car, it's a strong sound. Ka, ka. You got the lamb, or the la, and you got the ka, or the Q. Ka. So Allah created us. The only reason why these brothers and these sisters was able to build this. Then you got to look at the Kaaba too, right? Okay, that's heavy, so we want to keep it kind of simple. Okay, so Allah created us. Kalakakum. This is the calf. Kalakakum. This is a K or a calf. I think it's a calf, but it's a K. Kalakakum, kum, kalakakum. Allah created us, right? So look, when they say Allah created us, right, we got the planet, right? This is the planet, what they call Earth. And so say Africa's right here, right? So you talking about the pyramids right here, right? Then you talking about the Kaaba. Okay, so right at that time, right now, when we was ruling, you got black people on the entirety of the planet. So at that one time, Allah caused those black people to die. Like at some point in time, it's going to be a planet of black people that's going to die at one time. That's not spookism. That's not wishing death to skull and crossbone. That's just the reality. At one time, we're going to call that time, say time T. We're going to say time T sub 0, we're just going to say equal to A. We don't know what time it is or what time that was. We can come up with something, but we're just going to call it A. But at the first time of this system we're talking about, time T sub 0 equals A, at that time right there, the entirety of the planet, it was a group of millions of black people that died or went into the grave. Right? So look now, I was born in 1972. So in 1972, it wasn't just me. It wasn't even just people that looked like me. But in 1972, that's a new time. We're going to say time 1. So time 0, we're going to say this is like what? If you're talking about Ptah, I want to go back 5,000. Let's go back, what's that, let's go back to 1800, right? So we're just going to say, what was that? No, let's say 1782. Or let's just say 1800. So at time T sub 0, 1800K, at that specific time, you got hours and seconds, whatever it was, the planet, a certain number of planet of black people went into the grave. And then time T1, which is 1972, a planet of black people were brought into the world, right? I only use me as an example because in my mindset, how I'm thinking, this scripture right here applies directly to me. So I say that because they say we get resurrected from the grave. And they also say that, the brothers say that they could calculate when you would be resurrected. They said about 3,000 years. Right? That's real powerful. That's real, real powerful. Okay. So, and of you, and of some of you, you are brought back after having knowledge. I always love how the scriptures say it, right? And of some of you, after having knowledge, are brought back to the worst part of life where we know nothing. Okay. Okay. So I say that because certain things Allah gives us, keep us motivated. It's called Cartesian space. When we talk about dimensions, so we say dimensions is equal to h, and then you put another variable in the power sign to let you know that n, if we put it in a natural number set, this is math analysis. If we put n in a natural number set, we know that it goes from 1, 2 to infinity. So if you're talking about n represents the power of dimensions, you got one dimension, n equals 1. You got two dimensions, n equals 2. The one dimension is just a straight line, x. right? But you have a function, f of x equals y. So now you have 2 dimensions, x and y, right? That's 2 dimensions. If you talk about 3 dimensions, n equals 3. And how this works is you say f x or y, right? That's 2 variables in the function equals z. So that's the 3rd dimension, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. But we say that to say, in defining, remember now, these brothers and these sisters, they align these pyramids with the stars. That's space. That's matter. That's electrons, protons, neutrons, photons, whatever we talking about. But, okay. Okay. So we're talking about fundamental principles, things that we're going to build on, where you'll have that knowledge, right? How you solve that problem. The Research Library Corporation, we provide solutions to problems. Like I'm gonna tell you like this, right? And I thank Allah for bringing me here. We got the brother Mr. Kelly, R. Kelly, a singer, and you know, as far as like his gravitation towards younger children, if that's true, I don't want to say children like a pedophile, but young women, you know, again, we don't know, and so to not get involved in that. But I believe what we do know is that he has a venereal disease called herpes, and the thing with Mr. Kelly is what we don't seem to understand now. I'm not taking away from the fact that, you know, messing with young children. I mean, I look at me personally, brother, I don't even find, like, when I see, if you're talking about in that world, when I see a young woman and she might be like a young girl, 12 and 13, 16, 20, 19, 8, I don't even find that attractive. That can't do nothing for me. Like, she can't even have my child because she's not even developed where she would give. Now, I'm not talking about the black woman. I'm just saying, like, at that age, that's not even nothing. It's so many things that's better than sex, cheesecake. But you got to separate. What does it say in the book of Revelations? I love that verse. I can't think of it. What does it say? And the man of sin, there first must be a falling away from. Let no devil deceive you, for that day will not surely come unless there be a falling away first, and the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who sits in the seat of a law, pretending to be a law, to deceive the black man and black woman of America. So we be oversexed. Sex ain't really good unless you're trying to have some children. It's so many, that comes from slavery. That's still the breeding slavery in our minds. I say that because when you talk about Mr. Kelly, and, you know, again, the Bible say, how do you bind a strong man? How did these Caucasian people from Europe go to the west coast of Africa and get millions of black people in chains? Well, the only way he did that was he bounded us in our sins. When he came with the Bible, he seen what kind of sins we were involved in. See, the Bible already told him how to bind us. The Bible already told the devil how to bind us. The book of Genesis say, and the devil, the serpent, was the wisest of all the beasts of the field. Now look at this right here, right? So when we do go to Kemet, and they show you these, oh, that's so beautiful. Let's see something. No, they say Seth. They say Seth ain't have no, they say Seth didn't have an animal feature as far as like describing him on the hieroglyphs, he didn't have like no animal face. But the Bible do say, Book of Revelation say, and I saw one beast with the face of a man, right? But the scripture says that the serpent was the wisest of the beasts of the field. Okay, so, and then, so when they start showing you the hieroglyphs of these deities that they're calling God, so they say, but it be an animal face. So you might see, I think it's Horus, but they never say Horus is a god, but they have some deities that they present, so they're telling us, they present these deities as God or some type of God creation, right, with power, but they got animal faces, right? But then the book of Genesis say the serpent, which is a beast, was the wisest. What? Oh, that's powerful. But again, also look now, you have some Africans always understand that God created the animals in his image. So you got some Africans that have what you would say snake eyes. Their eyes look like the eyes on a snake. They don't look like, always understand now, they don't look like the snake. The snake, God has taken their characteristics of their eyes and put it on the snake. Always understand that. We get that confused. We say we look like the elephant. No, we don't look like the elephant. God has taken the beauty that has been put on the elephant. God has taken that from us and put it on the elephant to create the elephant. Okay. I say that because when you look at Mr. Kelly, how do you bind a strong man? Right? If you're created inferior and you weak, well, how you gonna bind this black man that can control? Well, you trap him in the sins. That's just it. Drinking alcohol, strong intoxicants. God say, leave it alone. No, give him some cigarettes, tobacco. Always remember not David and Goliath, Delilah and Samson. Right? Samson was Judah. Delilah was some strange woman. The hell Samson even messing with her for? But he say he loved her, and what she do? She trapped him in some ignorance, probably lust, right? We ain't supposed to be adultery. He ain't. Well, I don't know whether he married. He married. Okay, so how do you trap a strong man? That's a good story to read in the Bible to fully understand what has been done to us with slavery and that entrapment. How do you trap a strong man? When they give you Samson, he was one of the most strongest men. We talking about now physical strength. He was one of the most strongest men in the Bible, right? But they trapped him. Not only did they trap him, they blinded him, messing with that woman. He got blinded, brothers and sisters. You know how beautiful he was to mess with a strange woman, where she messed him up and got blinded. Then he died. Regardless of how many devils he killed, he died, brother. You know how painful that is to be. And then he was blind for a little bit of time before he died. So I say that because I would say the rumor is that Mr. Kelly, he liked younger women. You got to also, I'm not making excuses for it. It's just a separate type of mindset. But the rumor is that Mr. Kelly, he liked younger women. They even say he was married to the sister that had passed on from the plane crash. They say she was like 15. He married her, right? But see, again, when you're a certain size, brothers and sisters, they talk in separate types of ways. Now, he not Muslim. As a Muslim, now we just cut all that off, brother. We praying to God, what God say. But when you start looking at really what is we saying, because we all identify with Kemet, right? And the things that we are saying, what is it? God says, the imagination, the extreme of God has it somewhere where he's talking about the vanities of the imagination, but that don't sound right. It's something with imaginations, but it's like how they just vain, it might be vain. I think it's vain imaginations. So we speak in all kinds of ways. And then if we're not grounded in no type of religion, we might say God, Christianity, but if we're not really talking about the law, then we just out here crazy. But to put himself in that environment where they say, well, you know, he like younger women. So what happened with Mr. Kelly is that they seen that, then they sent a woman to him. He don't really know, he's still young. And they gave him herpes, right? They ain't like, you know, he ain't just out here promiscuous sex, right? Where he having so much sex that he gonna mess with a woman that got herpes. If that was the case, he would have caught AIDS. He didn't catch no AIDS. He caught herpes. So they did that to him on purpose. They gave that young black man herpes. But the only reason why God allowed that is because he had a fetish for young women. No, damn sure don't mess with no young black woman with a history of chattel slavery. No. So they gave that disease to that brother, right? So then you talking about, I think he probably was in his early 20s when he caught herpes, or it was like in 2002, right? So anyway, I caught all that because they had, this is why I say that. I say that because they had this doctor, when he was going to court for all what he was going to court for, they had a doctor get on the stand, and he a Caucasian, right? And I sat there and I was like, damn. I was like, here this doctor, I don't even think he a doctor, he was like a therapist or something. But they didn't somehow, now you talking about R. Kelly now. Now I'm not saying we worshiping him, but I'm saying, what's up, Mr. Kelly? We gonna get that thing up out of you, right? That's Fatiha. They got Mr. Kelly with some Caucasian giving him pills, talking about he gonna get rid of the herpes. You see how far that brother was from like this right here? Now he incarcerated, and they talking about he not gonna never get out. But they had the Caucasian right there, right, sweating, hair all looking crazy, but he talking about he gonna get rid of the herpes for Mr. Kelly, or he say he gonna treat the herpes. But he testified to say that R. Kelly had herpes and such and such and such and such, right? And we hate him because he didn't gave, now look, he didn't gave a woman herpes, which is again a reflection of his mindset. Why would he give that? The reason why he would just give it to people, because it was given to him. How they did that on purpose. But why did they do that? Or how did the law let that happen? Because he had that thing with them young women. He just had an attraction with the young women. Okay, I say that because again, after having knowledge brought back to the worst part of life, where we have no knowledge. So the research library solutions to problems, right? If you have problems, we're trying to find solutions to your problems. Okay. Okay. Research Library Corporation. So we talk about fundamental principles that we can build on. Now what I want to do is the last math lecture, I was trying to find a verse in the Bible, in the book of Zechariah, that talks about the prophecies of Judah, describing who Judah is at this time in history. So let's go to Bible Gateway. I found it, the Bible verse, I found it, right? So as I was leaving school and I was on the transit, and it was just one of them days, right? It was a long day. Yo, I thought I was just going to read the verse, and I was just going to go ahead and try to relax. Yo, let's read what God say, who he is. Oh, this thing is so beautiful. It's very, very beautiful. I couldn't, like, it was so much, because then it's true. And that's the standard. That's your covenant. If you not on that level with what God's saying you is, no, you got problems, you got problems. But you're going to have a lot of problems. So let's go to Zechariah. We're just going to go to Zechariah 7. Listen to what God says. Uh-oh. No. Oh, we Woo. Ahudu, Bilaye, Shayatina Rajim, Bismillah, Hiragmun, Niraim. I had to get my thoughts together, brothers and sisters. God will always prevail. Okay, it's not Zechariah 7, it's Zechariah 12. Let's read what God says about the black man and the black woman in America. The burden of the word of the Lord for Israel. Now look now, that's a duality. Because now we got some devils on the planet talking about they Israel, right? And they very burdened by what this prophecy is saying about the black man and black woman in America. Now you can look at all of that, the relationship between the United States and Israel, to again keep the black man and black woman destroyed in America. It's not just us, but it is us. Judah is the lawgiver. The burden of the word of the Lord for Israel. But then when you say black people Israel, no, black people not trying to live up to this. You got to stop eating pork, stop being a faggot, stop fornication, adultery, thievery, killing your brother and your sister. No, that's against what America say. America wants you to do them things. But if you stop doing them things, you're going to have some problems. You see what I'm saying? So that's the burden of the word of the Lord for Israel. Saith the Lord, which stretches forth the heavens and lays the foundation of the earth and forms the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege, both against Judah and against the nations of black people, or Abraham. Listen to what it say now. How are we inferior? Right? Well, we're inferior because don't nobody even know this verse. As far as young people. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. So as they are attacking us, right, even though the wicked are adverse, as they are attacking us, so they think God will make them begin to tremble and drink that cup of trembling. What? And in that day, right, it's patience by degrees. A degree is very A degree is very small. If you talk about a degree, say you got the planet, you got the sun, and understand the sun is way bigger, but and then you talking about like a shadow, so you got the sun right here, then it go right here, then you see it right here, then they get, so each one of these right here, these increments, is like a degree, very small, takes a lot of time. I will destroy these wicked devils by degrees. And in that day, I will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it, all those who messing with us, shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against us, against it. The United Nations, NATO, everybody don't want no red. That devil that was on that news channel talking about he was happy that they canceled affirmative action. All of these wicked devils that are against it, so what? All that burden, then they burden themselves. With it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. In that day, says Allah, I will smite every horse with astonishment and its rider with madness, and I will open my eyes upon the house of Judah and will smite every horse of the people with blindness. I will open my eyes upon the house of Judah, black man, black woman in America. And the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength and the Lord of hosts, our God. In that day will I make the governors of Judah like an hearth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf. And they shall devour all the people round about on the right hand and on the left, and Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first. Master Farad Muhammad came to North America with the knowledge, antiquity knowledge of Allah. He came to America first. Always understand, brothers and sisters, that, again, the prophets on the planet, it's not specific people, it's nations of people. You got the Commission people. They prophesied that God would come. They put God as light, a light color. You go to the Samaritan, to the Indian, all of these nations of people, the Arabian, these nations or ethnicities of people are the prophets on the planet. And each one of these people prophesies that God would come as light. Master Farad Muhammad came as light. That's why, but again, how we do, like we be freaking it. They freak that thing. That brother made that brother as a light skin. And then God said, well, look, this is the reason why. We don't really know, right? But in his mind, how I'm thinking, he made him light skin or Caucasian in color. I mean, well, like that hue where he could fit in where he wouldn't be seen. But all the prophecies say that it's going to be light. God is going to come as light. The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. Yeah, that's true. And that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Yeah. That's real powerful. That's powerful. Okay. So having read that and just being an ass for however many years I've been on this planet, just being so damn ignorant, even with knowledge, right? So we continually ask Allah to forgive us, and we thank Almighty Allah for who we are, and we just thank you. You know what I'm saying? That thing is powerful. Oh, that thing is powerful. The black man and black woman in America. When you read that, and I thought about Dr. Wesley Muhammad and his book. He has a book that he first came out with. He has a lot. That brother is a university within himself. But he had a book, The Destruction of the Black Man, The Destruction of Black Men. Let's just Google it. This is a book that I wanted to eventually get to after we finish the Kemet study. Black man, black masculinity, Dr. Wesley Muhammad. Okay, yes, sir. Understanding the assault on the black man, black manhood, and black masculinity. When I seen that book, I was like, yeah, that's a book, that's a good reference book. But I appreciate that book on a whole nother level now, because now, and this brother trustworthy. There ain't too many people that you're gonna really get out here and trust where you're gonna listen to them. Now this brother trustworthy. As far as the sincerity, the pain. But I see now, I appreciate, and this book details just how they attacking us. So when you go to the book of Zechariah and you read what in chapter 12, you read what God say, that's a prophecy that's coming to pass. And you see how relentless these devils is trying to destroy Judah. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody. Yeah, we all brothers. But God say Judah, the black man and black woman in America. What is it about you, black man and black woman in America? But then, if you on the island of Haiti, and you talking about Levi, when you see a Haitian, how they love themselves. They love, now they're not necessarily saying black, but they love to be Levi. Like they love themselves. Because that's what God's saying to them. If you was in the nation of Levi, when you read the Bible, you would know Levi verses, right? Or the nation of Benjamin. But it's always on the nation of Judah. Always. But God said he going to come to us first with that knowledge to protect us. Because we've been 400 years of child. So it's just real powerful. Okay. Okay. So let's just see what time it is. We're talking about ballistics. Okay, we're still on fundamental principles. So a fundamental principle. We got the number system. I'm going to start calling this number theory. let's start off with number theory. We're just going to theorize about numbers, how numbers work, and when you do multi-dimensional, when you collapse it into like 2 and 3 dimensions, it won't be difficult. Now again, it's going to be very difficult. Well, I ain't going to say very, but it's going to be difficult in the beginning, right? Because we're playing their game, or we're not playing their game, but somehow we're a piece on the board of their game that we cannot win. You can't beat the creator of the game. He created the game. But we wake up on their playing board. But it's number theory. We talking about the multi-dimensions of numbers and how you just manipulate numbers. And this, again, is just construction of how we think from chattel slavery, putting our brain back together. So really we can understand what God is saying. Okay. So when you talk about the number theory, we have something within the number theory called the number system. And the number system is just how we put numbers together, or we can say the relationship between numbers. What type of relationship does 0 have with 1, 1 has with 10, 10 has with positive infinity? If you also understand, look at how I was just thinking right there. I meant to say 2. Notice how I increased, right? Which is showing my one-dimensional way of thinking. But at the same time, Allah say, prove your path. Allah say, patience. But Allah say, I can't think of that. But beware. Allah says, beware. So we're behind enemy lines, right? This is a strange land. So we can stay one-dimensional just to see what's going on. But I could have said 0 and 1, and 0 and -10, and 5 and 6. Well, I could have did all of that. But then that would have left me multi-dimensional, right? We still got the door, right? We don't know about trap doors, right? We still have yet to learn when the floor come up, right? How they didn't got some way to burn the carpet. Where if you really look for a trap door in the floor, and you talking about when you gonna see the cut in the carpet, they got chemical. So we try to stay one-dimensional initially, which is also, again, how we have been mentally abused. You understand? Okay. But it's number system. And we use the number system, it's a boundary. Again, number theory, just everything. So within number theory, to understand number theory, the theory of numbers, we want to look at the symmetry. The symmetry in numbers. How 1 and 2 and 2 and 3, it's an equal distance between them numbers necessarily, right? Infinity. But 1.99 is less than 2.99. So even though the distance in between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3 is infinity, so then, like, you know, is infinity 1 less than infinity 2, right? So that's the direction we're going in. So that's the symmetry of numbers. And it's listen now, God gave us numbers for us to communicate the language of the universe. God gave us numbers to communicate as a language the activity of the universe, right? We just be on a mundane, how much do this bottle of liquor cost? Where can I go get a wholesale price on some cigarettes? That's what we use what God created the numbers for. We use it for that. Instead of actually finding out, like, you know, God, how can I freak these computers to put $100 billion in my account to help us as black people? How do I, you know, diseases, such and such and such and such. La, la, hallelujah.